What's good, Ohio Cannabis Report? It's your boy Gerald Moore Jr., and I am the founder of Ohio Cannabis Report. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Substack, Patreon, and of course, you can subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, where I look to bring you guys all the latest news, updates, and things going on in the Ohio cannabis industry. Today is Thursday, September 4th, and on September 6th, on this Saturday, Columbus Metropolitan Downtown Library, we will be having a Ohio Cannabis Town Hall where we have a great panel discussion set up for you guys with people from all different parts of the industry. Thanks to um, Normal Central Ohio, um, thanks to Ohio Cannabis Live, Anthony Riley, for organizing and putting this event together. I will be hosting and moderating the panel discussion. So we have Normal Central Ohio that'll be on the panel. We have EBT THC, who worked for King City Gardens, who's been doing some lobbyist work. He's a political science major. Did some work out in Florida, he's back here in Ohio. We have Tim Johnson, who's a former police officer, who's been lobbying in the cannabis industry for around 10 years. Also has a cannabis security company, so he'll be on the panel. We have Matt from Civics Cannabis, which is a nonprofit organization, civics organization, basically educating the cannabis community around civics and politics and lobbying and how everything has been going down at the State House. We will have, this is tentative, but hopefully he's able to show up, but a hemp professor from Central State, Dr. Craig, who is on my nonprofit board, and then also the CEO that's on my board as well, CCG Consulting, which is working with Central State to create Central State's hemp and cannabis program, where we are looking to cultivate, research, and process cannabis at an HBCU campus. So again, those are some of the people that'll be on the panel. We also have Emily from Benaleaves, who also is a lobbyist and has been working on lobbying at the State House as well over the last few years. So it looks to be a great panel. Let me know in the comments or send me messages if you guys have any questions or that you want me to ask during the panel. Again, we will be talking about the current landscape of Ohio cannabis, the legacy side, the industry side. We'll talk about business. We'll talk about the politics. We'll talk about social equity, the community fund, where the tax money is going, career opportunities in the space. So definitely, if you're in Columbus, Ohio area and you want to learn more about what's going on in the cannabis industry, you want to learn how to grow, you want to learn how to get involved politically, this is a great time to show up. This is a free event. You can RSVP at ohiocannabislive.com/events. Again, this is a free event open to the public. Hopefully we have some politicians there, some legislators there. We've had some legislators at the previous few. So we look forward to having folks there and supporting. Obviously, we know it's football season, so we know some of you guys will be at the football games or, glued to your TVs, but please make it out if you can. Today, I'm just going to share some updates on what's going on. Ohio recently dropped its latest updates on cannabis sales. So just give me a second while I wanted to go over this article too about Kid Cudi, since Kid Cudi is an Ohio native out of Cleveland, the Cleveland area. So this article is posted by Billboard. Kid Cudi says he used to smoke 15 blunts a day before going to rehab. It truly ruled my life. And that's one of the things, man, at the end of the day, I think, people have to be more accountable, right? Like, it's easy to say, well, cannabis, like at some point we all have to take accountability for ourselves, right? 15 blunts a day is diabolical. But Kid Cudi's also a musician. He's an artist. He's a creative. These, artists go through depression, anxiety, stress, pressure, just like everybody else. And a lot of times it's ramped up because they are in the public eye constantly, sharing their lives, sharing their truths. Which again, I've been an athlete, so I understand, the overconsumption. And so this is why we also have this page in hopes to educate folks, to let people know, like, there's only so high you can get, right? Like, I'm the type of person where I'm a micro doser. All I need is a few hits throughout the day, which helps ease the pain, the anxiety, the stress, depression, physical ailments, and things that I deal with, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So, again, 15 blunts, is a little excessive. And I feel like the older you get, the more mature you get in your cannabis journey. Obviously, you realize that. But also, we need to be educating now that cannabis is legal in almost half of the United States. The states aren't educating us, right? In Ohio, there is no education. There's no standardized education program coming out of the cannabis industry teaching people about terpenes, teaching people, even doctors, about the endocannabinoid system, which every human being has an endocannabinoid system, which are the receptors to receive cannabis. We're not being educated on sativa, indicas, hybrids. We're not being educated on how to grow cannabis. We're not being educated truly on the process of what these cultivators are doing, what they're using, the methods that they're using, the process. And so there's just still a lot of holes that need to be filled. And so this is why we kind of started the media platform in hopes to be able to share some of the news and information and resources coming out of the state and out of Ohio, and out of these private corporations and these multi-state operators. So if you do have any types of tips or anything that you think we should know, the community should know as a whole, be sure to send them our way. You can send them to our email, or you can direct message me on Instagram at Ohio Cannabis Report. I'm still figuring out if I can get into that account, actually. Or you can just email us at ohiocannabisreport@gmail.com. Again, that's ohiocannabisreport@gmail.com. And I will get back to you guys at my earliest convenience. So I'll read the story just a little bit. Kid Cudi has opened up about how he needed a stint in rehab to curb his marijuana use. On the heels of releasing a new album and his memoir, People sat down with Cudi earlier this week, and during the chat, he admitted there was a point he was smoking 15 blunts a day. I just was in this place where I was abusing it, Cutter said. I was really abusing it. I was smoking maybe 15 blunts a day, wake up in the mornings, get high. It truly ruled my life. After getting out of rehab, Cudi stayed away from smoking weed for 2 months and then restarted a healthier relationship with marijuana, which he has under control now. And now I just get after it at night or on the weekends when I have the free time, and I'm just relaxing, but I'm not smoking nowhere near as much a weed as I was smoking before, the Ohio rapper explained. Quote, a joint lasts me all day damn near. So my relationship has changed with that in a major way. And I'm just more interested in being sober and a lot more of being more present. Cudi's memoir arrived August 12th, which finds him baring his soul and delving into his turbulent journey filled with stories of loss, love, battling addiction. An early excerpt from a memoir revealed Cudi nearly died of a drug overdose circa 2010. So again, it's not just weed, right? A lot of times weed becomes the main focus, right? Not mental health, not physical health, not emotional health, not spiritual health. They cover it with weed. Like, no, people need help mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Cannabis is not a cure all, right? Cannabis is something that is going to make you feel good, right? If you're depressed, if you're anxious, if you're stressed, if you're in pain, it's a pain reliever, a pain mitigator. It is not something that's going to change your life in terms of helping you deal with and navigate real issues, death, loss, again, anger issues, depression, physical issues. You still have to do what you have to do to get over those things, whether that's therapy, whether that's exercise, whether that's nutrition, whether that's getting your spiritual and mental health right. You know what I mean? Cannabis is a tool. And again, it can be abused. But again, you can only get so high too. Like, there's so many people that think, oh, like, I'm gonna just keep smoking, I'm gonna get higher. No, you get to a point where you hit that wall, you hit that ceiling where you're not getting high anymore. That's that's probably why he was smoking 15 blunts a day. Because again, he was trying to suppress some of that depression, some of that anxiety. And so what do? You say, oh, instead of dealing with it, I'm gonna go smoke. And I get that. I mean, I lost a child Me and my wife lost a child to a stillbirth, almost lost my wife. And so, again, cannabis helped me in that process. I wasn't smoking 15 blunts a day though. You know what I mean? So again, no judgment. These everybody has their own journey, everybody has their own path. Let's see. I was at peace with dying, Cutter wrote. After doing more coke than I had ever in my life, I was losing all sense of what was real. I had been alone in New York apartment, crying for hours, listening to Like Lee song "Time Flies" on repeat. It was a love song, but the melodies of her voice filled me with despair. He continued, "It was peace I was after. Here, crippled on the floor, minutes from overdosing, was the closest I'd ever been to finding it. You made great music that people loved, I thought, but this is the end." On the music side, Kid Cudi released his free album on August 22nd, which boasts 13 tracks and no featured guests. So yeah, let us know what you think about that article. Next, I'm going to move over to Department of Commerce, Department of Cannabis Control updates. So these are the most recent updates, latest update, September 2nd, 2025. So it was just a couple days ago. Cultivators, there's 37 certificates of operations, 23 level 1, 14 level 2. Let's go ahead and show you guys. It's been a minute since I've showed you all. So these are all the level 1 level 1, level 2 cultivators, dual use cultivators, meaning they can cultivate adult use and medical. So these are all of the level 1 and level 2s. Oops, I didn't share that. So here's the level 1s and level 2 cultivators in the state of Ohio. All right, then we have processors, 46 certificates of operations for processors, 46 dual use. So here are your processors. Some of the cultivators also are vertically integrated. So they have cultivators, processors, and dispensaries. So you have Buckeye Relief, Clutch Cannabis, I believe. So that's processors. Then you have 8 testing labs. Here are your 8 testing labs. Then you have 162 dual use certificate operations for dispensaries. I'll go ahead and show you guys the map. And then let me know, we'll do a little roll call. Let me know what part of the state you're in, what county, what city. So you can see here's all the dispensaries within the state. There you go. I didn't realize Athens had another dispensary. Athens. So yeah, let me know. We'll do a roll call. Let me know what city, county you're in, what dispensary you go to. If you go to the dispensary, obviously I know not everybody's going to the dispensary, but clearly, there's people going. The state has made $2.9 billion in sales, adult use and medical. So people are going to the dispensaries. We have physicians. There are 547 certified to recommend. One thing I want to know is, where are the physicians? Why aren't we hearing, if there's 547 physicians, why aren't they talking about cannabis education and like what cannabis can do for people? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And I actually just renewed my med card too. And then I'll go ahead and do patient and caregivers. You see how they haven't updated this in 2 months because those patient numbers are dwindling. So right now there's 1,187,632 recommendations for a medical card. You have 459,408 registered patients, 26,013 patients with veteran status, 26,774 patients with indignant status, 1,544 patients with terminal diagnoses, 94,294 patients with both an active registration and an active recommendation, 439,189 unique patients who've purchased medical marijuana as reported by ORS by licensed dispensaries as of 8/15/2025, 41,995 registered caregivers. Sales figures as of 8/23/2025, medical sales began January 14th, 2019. Non-medical sales began August 6th, 2024. So you have your non-medical sales, pounds of plant material, 118,228 pounds of non-medical plant material. Units of manufactured product, 12,639,541. And then you have total product sales, $751 million, 751,589,962 of product sales for non-medical. Total receipts, 10,491,998. For your medical pounds of plant material, you have 329,148. For units of manufactured product, you have 30,615,925. Total product sales, you have $2,222,656,764. And then total receipts, 19,601,858. For a grand total of 447,363 total plant pounds, you have 43,255 or 43,255,521 manufactured products. And then for a grand total of $2,974,247,795 of total plant sales, product sales. And then total receipts, you have 30,093,758. Average prices as of 8/17/2025 through 8/23. Plant sales average per tenth is $18.32. Plant sales average per gram, $6.47. Manufactured sales average, $28.07. Then there's new facility highlights, Clutch Northfield. I think that's Cleveland, maybe. Then you have Bloom Medicinal and Maslin, and then you have Verilife and Solon. So those are the most recent updates coming out of the state of Ohio. Again, this is all, open source. You can go to this website right here, and it'll show you everything that you need to know. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Obviously, a lot of people are still going up north to Michigan. We do understand that. Obviously, Michigan's a 3 to 4 hour trip, so we know people are getting groups together, pulling their money together to go to Michigan because, again, cheaper product, and to them there's some better product. And so obviously people are bringing that product back, selling it. People are still, you still got Delta 8, Delta 9 being served in gas stations and retail stores. So there's a lot of money that's still not coming into Ohio. But then you have people that are also traveling from other states, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, because again, not every state is legal. But we are surrounded by, I think, non-legal states besides Michigan. Illinois, I believe, is legal. Kentucky has hemp. And then what else? So yeah, we are, again, people are traveling here to come to our dispensaries. Obviously, if people are on the road and they travel through Ohio and they consume, they'll stop and use cannabis. But again, we have a lot of Ohioans taking their tax dollars up to up Michigan, because again, some people don't even know we have an industry. You know what I mean? Because the industry's not able to market, they're not able to advertise or promote the dispensaries. So you really have to be kind of tapped into what's going on to even understand that there's a program, what type of products they have and serve, prices. We don't hear the dispensary owners talking or educating folks. We're not hearing the state educate folks. So I know because I follow the industry and I'm tapped in. But also, this is my job. This is a career that I've created for myself to follow the industry and make people aware. So, make sure you guys follow people like Ohio Cannabis Live, Anthony. Anthony puts on a lot of events, Ohio Lobby Days. He's putting on cannabis industry events. He also does a lot of lives. He also has traveled throughout the state, videoing some of these dispensaries as they open. So again, there's a lot of information that is being hoarded at the top. You know what I mean? Like again, I'm just a vlogger. I'm just an independent journalist. That is, I do what I can to get information and share it with obviously YouTube and the people. So again, if anybody has any tips or anything that they want us to share, please let us know. Also, Rodney Hash, he's an influencer in the cannabis space here in Ohio. He's been doing a lot of work in terms of investigating some tips that he's been given about improper workplace environments in some of these cannabis industries, and people have, confided in him about how they've been treated in the cannabis industry. So if you're on Instagram, go follow Rodney Hash. He does a lot of great information and he's blowing the whistle for folks. There's a lot of people in the industry that get scared or afraid. And so, never be afraid. Always understand that you have power. Never let these CEOs or executives or managers or supervisors back you into a corner where you feel like you don't have any other alternatives. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are getting treated poorly in this industry. And I hear at the dispensary level, there's a lot of high turnover. I know I've gone to a few dispensaries and I rarely ever see the same people. You know what I mean? And I only really go to Sapphire. Sapphire is like right around the corner from me. So when I do go to the dispensary, Sapphire is super easy. I mean, it's 5 minutes away. I could literally walk there if I want to. But they have drive-through. They also have the better deals. I have Amplify, which is about 10 minutes away. Between them, Sapphire has definitely the better deals. Sapphire is open until like 10:45 at night. They have a drive-through. Amplify has a drive-through as well, but I don't believe they're as open as late. And they usually don't have the best deals. And they're always pushing their own products because Buckeye Relief owns Amplify dispensaries. So, they'll have, some deals on that. I did go to Amplify for the first time in a minute, last week, and picked up a pack, which is solid. That's what I got in this little micro joint right here. I got some Garlic Breath 2.0, which is solid. When I got out the pack, it was pretty decent buds, pretty decent smoke. It's an indica. I'm more of an indica type, and I'm actually gonna roll this up and light this up on camera for y'all because it was my birthday too. I'm celebrating my 36th birthday, so it's still my birthday week. It's my little wake and bake joint right now. Happy Thursday. Since this Kid Cudi, since I did the Kid Cudi album, or not the album, but the article, should put some Kid Cudi on. Also, let me know in the comments what y'all smoking on. This some Garlic Breath. I also got some plants in the backyard growing. Home grow is legal in Ohio. You can grow up to 6 plants per adult in a household. So yeah, let me know in the comments what y'all like to smoke on, what y'all consume, and let's see if we got any more news coming out. Growing pains persist for Ohio cannabis industry 1 year after legalization. A year into Ohio's recreational marijuana industry, dispensary shelves are fuller, prices are falling, and sales are climbing. Yet, for many in the industry, uncertainty lingers. Industry experts say the rollout of Ohio's adult use program has been largely successful. By the end of the year, the state could have as much as $1 billion in recreational marijuana sales, funds that would have otherwise gone to the illicit market or into the pockets of Michigan dispensary owners, which, I mean, money is still going there, right? Let's see. Ohio cannabis markets anticipates major boosts with introduction of pre-rolls. Pre-rolls have been starting to get rolled out at various dispensaries. I did see some at Amplify. I mean, they're selling joints for $13, $15, $20, which is crazy. But I get, it's a SKU that people want, right? I mean, it's a SKU that obviously it's easier to just take something that's already rolled up for you and smoke it. You know what I mean? I prefer to roll my own joints. Because we know they're not putting that gas in them joints. So as Ohio's legal adult use cannabis market marks just over 1 year since its inception, a significant product is set to hit dispensary shelves. Cannabis pre-rolled cigarettes or joints. Dispensary operators report a high demand for the product, which has been absent from Ohio's market, but is expected to invigorate sales. Tracy Green, Ohio Operations Director for Nectar Dispensaries, which operates 5 shops in the state, said that the demand in Ohio is there. There's a pretty significant demand. It's something that customers have been asking for since the medical days. It's something that's pretty common in other markets, and so it's something that customers were, I think, a little bit confused by the fact that we didn't have them available in the state. But the news that they're coming to the market has been received really well, and customers are really excited about it, said Green. So yeah, let's see. So let me know what you guys think too. I mean, 1 year into adult use sales, cannabis sales, we've hit 700 something million dollars. Kevin, love the content. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I'm trying. I'm a one-man show right now until I get some money and I could hire some folks. But I do my best to try to create content and get it out to the masses and let people know what's going on in the state of Ohio. Ohio is one of them weird states where shit just feels kind of like secretive. I get it. I've been in Ohio for over 15 years now. I'm originally from the East Coast, so I'm a little bit more progressive. But for me, I understood that one, when it comes to cannabis industry and business, a lot of people don't understand. Like, people want to get into the cultivating, growing weed, processing it, and selling weed. But what about the ancillary market? What about marketing? What about advertising? What about news? What about being an influencer or a consultant in the industry? Like, there's so many different facets and aspects of the cannabis industry that folks should be a part of. You need nurses, right? We need nurses that are educated about cannabis. We need doctors. We need educators. You need builders, right? I mean, HVAC folks, people that do electrical and plumbing. Who's building these dispensaries? Who's outfitting them and making sure that the insides are squeaky clean and the plumbing and electrical is right for all of these lights and all the water and everything going into it. So if you're looking to get in the cannabis industry, it's not just about smoking it, consuming it. It's not just about growing it. There's just so many different aspects of the industry that folks can whatever you're doing now in your career could probably, be involved in the cannabis industry. Do you think the prices will ever come back down? I believe so. I mean, the industry is still fairly young. And, they said we are supposed to have upwards of 400 dispensaries. We only have 162 in the state right now. So when you think about, business, just general business practices, there's demand there. But unfortunately, there's not enough supply in terms of dispensaries. Every city, every community doesn't have a dispensary. I'm in Columbus, so I think we have about 14. Franklin County is one of if not the largest county in the state. So obviously, Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, you're going to have a bulk of the dispensaries. There's still a lot of suburban communities that have moratoriums against cannabis being sold in their communities. So, like in Columbus, you have Upper Arlington, no dispensaries. You have Dublin, actually, I think, is building a dispensary. Westerville has one or two dispensaries. Bexley, I don't believe, has a dispensary, but right on the border of Bexley, there's like two or three dispensaries. Worthington, I don't believe, has a dispensary, but again, Westerville is right next to Worthington, and then Worthington's right next to Columbus. So, but again, we're supposed to have upwards of 400 dispensaries. We only have 162. We have no social equity dispensaries. So again, yes, I do believe eventually prices will come down. But again, I think as citizens, we have to pressure the state to one, release more dispensaries, open more dispensaries, make it more cost effective to own a dispensary. We still don't have tier 3. We still don't have craft grow. So tier 3, which means smaller folks that want to grow, to be able to have a smaller dispensary operation. Craft grow, allowing people to grow their own cannabis and then be able to sell it to a dispensary. So then the dispensary can sell it. We don't have that. We should have that, which again will create a more quality product, but also lower the product. Right now, they're selling mids and Reggie at higher prices. So the stuff that's being sold in the dispensary right now is being marketed and advertised as like high class weed because the dispensaries are high class. But when you really look at the product and you taste the product is not high quality. A lot of the product's been sitting on shelves for months on end, so it's not fresh. We don't know. Some of the buds have been remediated. There's no way to determine if the product was remediated, which means before the product was put on the shelves, the product could have had some mold, some mites on it, and they put it through a process that kills that fungus or kills that mold or kills those mites. And then they, send it to the testing laboratory. We've been told by multiple sources that they've tested the product multiple times to get the testing results that they want. So again, there's a lot of things that are going on in this industry right now that is not being transparent with the citizens, with the people, right? And so this is why people, the citizens, have to exercise their rights, freedom of press, freedom of speech, and talk like I'm doing, and don't be afraid to do it publicly, right? I'm not paid by any of these cannabis companies. The only cannabis company that I work with right now directly is App Girls Cannabis, which is a THC beverage company, and they are not in the legal cannabis industry. They are hemp farmers and hemp producers. So the cannabis and the drinks are Delta 9, Delta 8 hemp derived THC. I've connected with Benaleaves as a processor. Thought about doing a project with them, but again, they're just a processor. They're not a cultivator. So they're not producing and growing their own bud. They have to go get their bud from somebody else in hopes that people will sell them. So again, if I'm going to do something, I want to go to somebody who's actually cultivating their own cannabis so I can have my own strain, my own products, be able to process that, and then be able to dispense it. So again, there's a lot of room for growth. The industry, you think about it, it's still fairly new, right? Adult use industry in Ohio has only been around for 6 years. Most people or medical has only been around for 6 years. I just did you probably weren't here, but I read off all the latest numbers for medical patients, veteran patients, indignant status patients, et cetera, et cetera. But obviously, most people now are just going to go because it's the same product. The only difference between medical and recreational users right now is there's a little bit of a tax difference depending on if you have a medical card versus if you're going in as a recreational user. The products are the same. If I go get garlic breath, as an adult use patient, it's going to be the same product as if I go get it as a medical patient. So there's not too much of a difference right there. I get a medical card because, again, I do have a medical condition. I have chronic pain, I have arthritis, but also as a medical professional, I have a degree in healthcare administration. I'm a former football player and I'm a coach and trainer. So having that license gives me a little bit more of a way to speak to cannabis from a medical and a medicinal standpoint as than just a adult use recreational user, where I go talk to universities. I've gone to talk to the University of Cincinnati students multiple times. I've talked to multiple doctors groups, nurses groups, and organizations. So having that license, even though I believe it's the same product, is just giving me a talking point to be able to go and say, hey, I deal with some shit, but also I use cannabis to help me overcome that. So yes, I think prices will come down. I gave you a long answer. I believe prices will eventually come down. Um, and again, you have to shop, right? Like I said, there's some dispensaries that have great deals. So like Sapphire around the corner from me, they almost have a 30% off discount on products like every day, So, but that's part of the problem too, is like you gotta shop, you gotta do your due diligence to see who's having the best deals for today. Um, um, and so that's the biggest thing is, just shopping and bargaining. Some place may have a good deal. Today's Thursday. So some places may have good deals on vapes, on some places have good deals on topicals today. Um, so you just kind of got to do your due diligence in the industry right now. And unfortunately, everybody's not around a bunch of dispensaries to be able to say, well, these 4 dispensaries are in my area, you know what I mean? Let me price them out and see which one got the best deal for the day. All right. Some people may only have one dispensary that's within 20, 30 miles. Not everybody has a car, right? Not everybody could take the bus. So there's just so many different hurdles. Home grow is an option. I encourage everybody in the state of Ohio, if you're an adult, I encourage you to grow. It's not easy. I'm not saying everybody could grow. Everybody obviously doesn't have a yard or home space to do it. I have a outdoor grow right now that's going really well. Keep my fingers crossed that we finish out well. But get a grow tent, get some lights, and start to practice. You know what I mean? That's the cheapest way to go, right? The most expensive thing that you're going to do is if you got to get a tent, purchasing the tent, fans, humidifier, the water, obviously, soil meat, determining how you're going to grow it, if you're going to put it in soil, if you're just going to do straight water. But again, once you get your systems going and you get a routine going, that's the cheapest way, what I mean, to grow or to get weed. Anytime you have to go buy it from somebody, a dispensary, or go to your local, guy down the street, support your home growers, support your local plug, especially if they got good tree. Like, I'm not for the spray packs. Do your due diligence, right? Everybody's not giving good product. I only dabble in the cannabis. Whatever outside of that, if you need something stronger, stay over there. But for me, if it's just weed, go to your local plug. I got a few good plugs that I go to, and they're not selling it. They are donating it. They are caregivers. We got to understand words, law. So it is illegal to sell your home grow. It is not illegal to donate. So you could say, this is an exchange. We're bartering. I gave him a QP. I gave him a couple ounces. He donated $100, $200, or he donated $50 and he donated some services, or she donated some services. You know what I mean? America is all about wordplay and laws, right? Like, just 6 years ago, weed was illegal in Ohio. There was war on drugs. Ohio's a police state. You got all these polices and prisons. But now it's legal, and now you got whole corporations that are moving millions of dollars in an illegal. It's still federally illegal, and it's a cash-only business. So it's got to be some fraud, some money laundering going on, some racketeering going on. It's all types of wild shit going on. But you just got to be smart. Pre-rolls are not going to fix the problems. Definitely not going to fix the problems we have in Ohio. And again, it's just another way for these corporations to get more money, right? It's just another skew for them to say, hey, obviously. So again, if you have expensive product and then now you're going to make pre-rolls, the pre-rolls are just going to be expensive. I mean, I was looking on the website the other day and the pre-rolls were selling for one joint for $13. A joint for $15, a joint for 21, not a pack of 5, not a pack of 4. You know what I mean? So again, but Ohioans, man, Ohioans got to speak up. And unfortunately, right now, what's happening, and a lot of us are calling for a boycott. A lot of advocates and people in the Ohio cannabis industry are calling for a boycott of these Ohio dispensaries because, again, prices are still too high. The dispensary owners aren't speaking up for the people. They're not encouraging expansion of the program. They're basically fighting to keep the program limited so they can get all the money, they can build their business infrastructure and be able to do what they want. They don't want us home growing. They don't want us educating the people on how to grow their own weed. They don't want, obviously, people going up north to Michigan to buy weed. They want everybody to come to Ohio dispensaries only. They don't want you to go to the corner store, the gas station. They don't want you to go to your neighbor. They don't want you to grow your own. They want you to come to their dispensaries, pay taxes at their dispensary, and then the GOP wants to take those tax dollars and put it into their own general fund. They don't want the tax dollars from recreational sales going into social equity or community funds like we all voted for. 2.7 million people in Ohio voted for it. We knew what we were voting for. We knew we were voting for home grow. We knew we were voting for social equity and a community fund. But now they're trying to say, we haven't been in session for a few months, but back when we were in session, they were trying to say, 2.7 million Ohioans voted for it, but they didn't know exactly what they were voting for. So we have to change the law. Oh, well, this was a citizens initiated statute. So the citizens voted for this, but they knew that we could come in and change it if we wanted to. So again, constitutional amendment would have set everything in stone. Since we didn't do a constitutional amendment and we did a citizens initiated statute, the citizens initiated statute means that the politicians can come in and try to change things that they don't like in the law. And so that's what they've been trying to do. That's what they tried to do with SB 56, HB 160. These were different bills that were introduced at the State House through the Senate and through the House to try to change the laws that we voted in. And so that's what a lot of us, that's why I've been advocating and doing more content, because a lot of people don't know. They just think, oh, we're legal in Ohio and it's all good to go. Like, no, after summer's over and we come to fall, winter, and they get back in session, they're going to be ready to make some changes, because there's been events that has happened over the summer that haven't been good events, or things have happened, or politicians have heard about it. And so they're going to come in and they're going to, more children got sick. More children were sent to the hospital because of cannabis. And so now it'll be a thing where, again, if you're an adult, if you have children, educate your children on what you are doing, right? Again, me being a medical patient, me being in the medical field, I have children. My children know this is cannabis. My children know if they see me with my vape cart, or they see it around, or they see edibles, this is medicine. This is mommy and daddy's medicine. You do not touch this. If you see it, you hand it to an adult, right? You give it back to an adult. We do our best to not make sure they have to do that. But again, my children are young, 8 and 5. And so again, children learn from a very young age. At one point, we were all children. We all saw things. We all saw our parents doing things. We see the alcohol at the beer or at the bar in our house. I was very fortunate. My parents didn't drink or smoke, so I didn't have none of that in my house. But my first 6 years of life, my granddad was a smoker and a drinker. My granddad was growing weed. Whole time, I didn't know my granddad was growing weed until I turned 30-something, and my aunts told me. So they did a good job of keeping me and shielding me from certain things. But I saw the beer cans. I saw my granddad drinking as he working on the car. You know what I mean? I saw the ashtray with, I remember being like 4 or 5 years old trying to pick up a cigarette butt from my grandmother's ashtray and trying to put it up to my mouth and smoking it because I saw her doing it. And so again, you know, we as parents, as adults, as educators have to educate the next generation. It's not good enough to just say, don't do this. This is only for adults. Why? What is it? You know what I mean? Because kids are going to try. You know what I mean? And Ohio's not the smartest place, and we're not the healthiest place. I mean, we're near the bottom of pretty much education, economics, healthcare, um, higher education, just overall, just wellness of life. And we're a red state, so shit not looking too good. But educate your kids, man, and grow your own weed. Grow your own weed. That's, I mean, one of the biggest ways to revolt is to grow your own food and your own medicine. If you can take care of yourself, which I don't like going to the hospital, I don't like going to the doctor, even though I got a degree in healthcare. I don't like doing it because I understand that they are trying to take advantage of you. It's your job to take care of yourself. Most of the doctors don't know what the fuck is going on with you. That's why they're just giving you different pills to see which way works better. Oh, let me get this surgery out the way and see if that helps. Do your best to not get under the knife. Take care of yourself earlier. I'm 35. I exercise daily, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I do something. Go up the stairs instead of taking the elevator. You know what I mean? Walk down the stairs instead of taking the elevator. Nobody's telling you to be a fitness model. Nobody's telling you to be an elite athlete. I'm a former elite athlete. So again, my perspective is a lot different than most people. I tried out for the NFL. I was a 4-year Division I football player, All-American. So I understand like my level of fitness and it's different. But also it doesn't guarantee that I'm going to stay fit. A lot of athletes get out of shape once they finish playing. I've been very fortunate to take care of myself because I understood if I didn't take care of myself mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, I would be fucked. My ankles already hurt. My knees already hurt. If I put on too much weight, it's going to make it worse, right? Stretching, yoga, eating a nutritionally dense meal or food. Stop eating so early. A lot of people, as soon as they wake up, they go get a donut, they go get a muffin, they go get a bagel, toast, stuff that's not nutritious for you. And then it just sits there and you sit all day, you're not active. And so now you're just eating empty carbs, you're eating food that's not breaking down in your body. If you're going to break your fast in the morning, you should eat some fruits and vegetables. This should be the first thing you eat. People drink coffee, you know what I mean? First thing. Usually, like this morning, I had half of a banana and I had a little bit of a smoothie. And I had, what else did I have anything else? No, that's it. And it is 10:30. You know what I mean? And I probably for lunch, I'll probably eat a little salad. And people are like, you starting? Like, no, like I eat when I'm hungry. One, you know what I mean? So I weigh 211 pounds. I'm 6'1". You know what I mean? And I have more fat on my body than I've ever had. You know what I mean? Because I have over the summer, I haven't been working out crazy. But again, I have kids. So when we're at the playground, you know what I do with my kids? I run around with them. You know what I mean? I play tag. I play hide and seek. You know, I do pull-ups on the monkey bars. I do push-ups. And then guess what my kids do? Push-ups. They do it. And then, oh, daddy or my nephew, hey, Uncle G, I want to do it. So now they want to do pull-ups. And guess what we're doing? I'm instilling them lifelong habits that they understand. Just because we're on the playground, just because the kids are playing doesn't mean the adults can't have fun. Doesn't mean the adults can't exercise or work out. You know what I mean? And then we got to understand what are the habits that we're training and teaching our children. The same thing with the cannabis. If your kids see you picking it up and they see you being lazy and they see you not doing nothing, but then you tell the kids to go do something, like the kids, you could tell the kids what to do all day. They see you. They hear you. So telling the kid to do something and then say, well, go aspire to be this celebrity, this entertainer, this politician. But then they looking at their parents like, what the fuck is you doing? You a fucking bum. You lazy. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of that. I see a lot of parents, oh, well, the teachers ain't doing it. The school's not doing it. The politicians, like, nigga, what are you doing? So keep us updated on the garden. Looking forward to seeing the harvest next month. Will do. Make sure you guys again follow me on Instagram. I post a lot of this stuff on Instagram, my personal page. So at Gerald Moore Jr. I am working on getting the original Ohio Cannabis Report Instagram back up. I think somebody either tried to hack us. I think Ohio Cannabis Coalition is getting mad because I've been posting a lot of their information about how corrupt they are on the page. So I think they've been reporting the page. I did make a backup Ohio Cannabis Report page, and I keep forgetting that I have it, but it's Ohio_Cannabis_report. And so I have started that backup page to start reposting content on there. Again, the Ohio Cannabis Report page is still up, so you can still follow it, you can still comment and still engage. I am just currently locked out of the page right now, and I am working on getting back in there. And we've had this issue before. Meta and Facebook have opened up, and Google, I believe, have opened up the ability for cannabis folks to post content on their page. Again, I don't sell anything on this page. I'm not advertising anything on this page. If you want to support me, you can support me in this mission through my nonprofit, which is Green Environmental Outreach. We're a 501c3. So if you do want to donate to the garden, you want to donate to education, you want to donate to expanding resources. I do have a personal, it's not a personal nonprofit, but I am the president of the nonprofit. That nonprofit is Green Environmental Outreach, and we are based out of Ohio. We are a veteran-founded nonprofit. We are diverse. We're social equity. We have women on our board. Again, since I am the leader, I've kind of been like tiptoeing because I've lost out on a lot of people wanting to support the nonprofit, because as soon as they hear us talking about cannabis, they pull away their support. And so, and then obviously, being social equity, not everybody, everybody don't. Well, we got to talk about race all the time. Well, I'm Black. I've been born in America, and I've had to deal with race my entire life. Like being a smart Black person, you got to deal with being too smart for your own people. You know what I mean? Oh, you too smart, you too good, you too this, you too that, you talk white, you talk that. Then you get around white people, you're not Black enough, or you're not, light enough, or your hair's not straight enough, or you don't talk clear enough for them, or you don't dress good enough for them. So it's like I went to white Catholic school, military Catholic school at that. I went to a PWI. I got my degree. Grew up in PG County. Grew up in DC. So like I grew up in a very culturally diverse place. But then coming to Ohio, lived in Athens for 4 years, 5 years playing ball. That's Appalachia. So you see poor white people. I'm like, this is weird. This is different. How you poor and white? That shit crazy to me. But had great success playing sports there. And then I met my wife there. And then my wife was from Ohio. So instead of moving, I tried out for the NFL. I tried out for the Oakland Raiders in 2013. Got cut, and I decided to retire from football because I had most of my body intact, my brain intact. So I said, hey, I'll be an entrepreneur. And then decided to move back to Ohio. My wife she's my girlfriend at the time. She had to get surgery. I moved down here. We got married 9 years ago. And then we moved to Columbus about 8 years ago. So we've been in and around the Columbus area. We started in Grandview, moved to Upper Arlington. I coached football in Upper Arlington for 2 years at the high school. And that's really when I started to get involved in civics and politics, because I got to Upper Arlington and I was like, oh, it's a hell of money here, but there's nobody that looks like me here. So I was like, this is a little odd. And then George Floyd happens, Black Lives Matter happened. Then obviously being a young Black man, I was like, well, shit, I got to say something. Like this shit is just odd and weird. Plus, this is where all the money is. This is where the politicians are. This is where the professors from Ohio State live. This is where the entrepreneurs live. So that's when I really started to raise my voice. Then we moved. I got called the N-word walking my 6-month son down the street in Upper Arlington. And so we decided to move after that because I was just like, I'm not about to subject my kids to being called a nigger walking down the street in a city that we pay taxes to. I coach at the high school here. I've done nothing but be a good servant, be a good citizen here. And the fact that I got to walk down, and it's not saying that it can't happen anywhere. It's not saying that, but again, I was a part of a nonprofit called Equal UA that I didn't feel represented in. I was a founding board member, and I knew they weren't willing to do the necessary things to truly support me and my community. So I left that board because, again, you're around a bunch of wealthy, pretentious people that they don't want anything to look bad. You know what I mean? And so even their ignorance, it's like, it's not my fault that you're ignorant about race in America. It's not my fault that y'all don't like a certain demographic of people just because of your perceptions of what you've been taught by the media, by the news, by whatever, by your, random interactions, right? Like, it's people that's going to do you dirty no matter what color they are. You know what I mean? Like, if you're around all black people, yeah, some shit gonna happen. If you're around all white people steal too. White collar crime. I mean, look at our president right now. The president of America is pulling the biggest heist. They said his family has amassed a $5 billion cryptocurrency money, bro. Like, it's crazy. Looking forward to seeing if the president reschedules. Yep. And we appreciate all progress. I'm for complete descheduling. I don't believe cannabis should be scheduled as anything, because, again, cannabis is a herb. It's a plant. It's a flower. You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't be, it needs to be completely descheduled. But rescheduling obviously will help with research, destigmatizing the plant. So we'll see. We'll see what Trump. I mean, I don't know how many of his promises he's followed up on. I mean, I know he said he was going to end the wars. The wars are still going on. It's a genocide in Israel right now, in Gaza. Obviously Russia and Ukraine are still going at it. He said gas prices was going to be down. He said grocery prices was going to be down. I think I paid, with my little discount I get from the grocery store, $3.29 a gallon the other day. So we're still well above, we're still above $3 here. Grocery prices are still pretty high. I mean, people are still losing jobs. I mean, I don't know what the economy looks like for most people, but I would assume that it's not looking good. Healthcare facilities are closing in Ohio. Folks are getting the Medicaid, Medicare. So yeah, we'll see. We shall see. Sorry if the president reschedules cannabis. Yeah. And I thought it was supposed to be happening. It should be happening this week. You said it was going to happen in a couple weeks. So this week or next week. So we should be knowing something real soon. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for y'all today, man. It's pretty much the same stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and it's tough because, again, I feel like we could be doing more. Technically, we don't have lounges in Ohio. Obviously you can go to, a place that's, what is it? Hookah. I know people smoke at the hookah lounges. People smoke at the bar, shit like that. But there's no like designated, like, I'm somebody that I really don't like the bar scene. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not around, like, I'm too grown to be around motherfuckers that can't handle their liquor. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that type. So for me, like I said, I smoke at home. I got my garage, I got a shed, I got a yard. And I'm not a huge like social person in terms of like going out to smoke, especially if I don't know the people, so usually I'm solo, small group. But again, I would appreciate having like a lounge that could do special events. People are hosting events. I've been to a couple. We did some media for Pothead Genius and Papermaker Genetics. Papermaker Genetics is throwing some pretty good events. He's doing, he's 4, 5, 6 events, maybe 10 events plus a year. So there are people doing some good work. I heard about Stargazer. Heard some people liked it, some people didn't. So again, I think people have to be responsible too. Like, I'm all for people making money. I'm all for people, doing things. But again, don't ruin it for all of us. You know what I mean? Don't make money and then like not speak up. Because the problem is we don't have enough people speaking up. And I don't know, you have people that, oh, they got jobs, X, Y, Z. But it's like, use your voice, right? The First Amendment is a powerful tool. Freedom of press. I've turned myself into press. Like, somebody called me a journalist. I'm not a journalist. I will not. My wife is a journalist. My wife went to school for journalism. My wife went to school for broadcast journalism. My wife just won an Emmy for being a journalist. I will not take that title. I don't even take the title of influencer. I'm just me. So, I do my best to try to, share information and resources, but I am not a journalist by any stretch of the imagination. I don't want to be a journalist. Like, I didn't get into this to be a journalist. I got in this to be a citizen to help spread the word. Let's see what we got any more news headings. Headlines out of the day. Fairborn City Council approved marijuana dispensary. This is Dayton. I'll go ahead and share this with y'all because this is some new news that I haven't seen. So Fairborn City Council approves marijuana dispensary. Dayton, Ohio, after 2-year debate over whether the city should allow marijuana dispensaries, the Fairborn City Council has approved a resolution granting just that. At a city council meeting Tuesday, the council approved a resolution with a 6-1 vote. The city's mayor was the sole vote against the dispensary. In the meantime, the existing moratorium on dispensaries in Fairborn will be extended through the end of the year. This was a result of a vote that took place yesterday as well. The extension will allow the additional planning on potential zoning amendments, among other things. The city will also take the time to consider regulations for selling marijuana and related products. Mike McName, Fairborn's solicitor, said the decision to approve one dispensary will allow, for a controlled integration of marijuana sales into the city's infrastructure. This will allow officials time to assess their impact as well as the streamlined zoning. Ahead of the vote, Fairborn residents at the meeting were provided the opportunity to voice their opinion on the resolution. Some considered marijuana sales to be a privilege of an individual, while others argued that marijuana could induce negative health impacts. Do you want drugs in your town or not? One resident said, "It seems like a no-brainer for me." On the marijuana dispensary, I'm pretty neutral. The people who did take the time to vote voted for it. In the meantime, the city will continue to outline the guidelines for the dispensary as the moratorium period continues. But again, this is why education is important, right? Again, cannabis isn't just like a drug, right? Like people say like, oh, do you want drugs in your community? Whole time is people popping pills. Those are drugs. Whole time there are drive-throughs, there are beer spots, there's grocery stores that sell liquor and drugs over the counter and pharmacists. So I think, again, it's the education of cannabis. You can't OD on cannabis, just pure cannabis. You can't overdose. You could take one too many Tylenol or ibuprofen. Just saying. You could take one too many swigs of alcohol. Just saying. You're going to have some weed and you're going to go to sleep. Or you're going to be hungry. Or you're going to be focused. So this is why education is so important. Sorry, I got some stuck in the wrong pipe. So I'll read this article, and this is one of the issues that, the state's dealing with, but the legal loophole has created a wild west for intoxicating hemp products in Ohio. So the Green Room in Montgomery sells consumable and smokable products with THC and CBD derived from hemp, a version of cannabis plant. So Cleveland, as Ohio's recreational marijuana landscape has grown over the last year, an unregulated thorn has remained in its side, the intoxicating hemp industry. Intoxicating hemp products contain THC derived from hemp, not marijuana, and are not subject to the same rules as licensed cannabis businesses. So this is also one of the reasons why the Ohio cannabis businesses, the legal ones, are trying to control the industry, right? One of the biggest talking points that they talk about when we go to the state house is kids getting cannabis from these type of places, right? Because some of these places aren't carding, some of these places aren't doing the due diligence, to ensure that kids underage aren't getting cannabis products. Because again, a lot of these places want to make money, and so again, it's up to the citizens, the retailers, right, the business owners. I don't believe everybody should be held accountable because business owners are doing bad business. And that's on both sides, whether you're a hemp seller or whether you're a cannabis dispensary. You know what I mean? So again, um, cannabis should be open. You know what I mean? So right now they're trying to constrict it and control it. The hemp farm bill passed in 2018, which made hemp legal. And hemp is different than your typical THC. Let me see. Ohio Senate passes SB 56, which would change marijuana laws. Voter approved in 2023. So that's one of the bills that we talked about. I covered this in another live a few days ago. But these are one of the bills that we were opposing before summer hit. Senate Bill 56, if enacted, would reduce the number of marijuana plants allowed per household from 12 to 6 and prohibit sharing marijuana. It would also make it illegal for anyone in a car to smoke marijuana and ban outdoor smoking. Additionally, landlords could prevent tenants from growing or smoking marijuana in rental properties. The new measure now goes to the House for a final vote. Republican senators argue that the changes are necessary for safety and are not intended to undermine the will of the voters. Then what is it to do? In 2023, nearly 60% of Ohio voters approved the legalization of recreational marijuana. They should have known at least that they were voting to put it into the revised code, said Steve Huffman, a Republican senator from District 5, not in the Constitution, but in the Ohio Revised Code, knowing in full knowledge that the General Assembly could change it, could, not should, not will. You could change it. You don't have to change it at any time in any way. Senate President Rob McCauley defends the bill, saying the changes that we made in this bill are very reasonable in nature. No, they're not. Trying to make things unappealing to children, trying to make it so our children don't have to walk down the sidewalk and inhale plumes of marijuana smoke. First of all, it's not happening. Like, kids are walking around taking in fumes of fucking inhaling gas coming from cars, right? The combustion coming from cars. Like, you don't mind kids getting air from wasteland. You don't mind kids being poisoned by oil spills in East Palestine, but the weed smoke. Are you fucking serious? And then they be talking about children. Half of these senators are 60 plus. What children do you have? And then if kids are going into the dispensaries, most time these kids are 17, 18, 19 years old. If an 18-year-old can go to war, or if an 18-year-old can be charged as an adult, that's just crazy, man. And they claim they care about kids. Whole time they are taking away tax money from education. They're taking resources away from parents and families. But we care about the kids. Okay. We care about the kids, but you won't release the tax money that's supposed to go to local communities to help with education, to help with healthcare, to help with addiction services, to help with roads and bridges, to help with community development, to help with housing, to help with more jobs, to help with better health. Like, come on, bro. Like, these politicians are so fucking out of touch with reality. And the fact that people support them, the fact that people are uneducated and not willing to talk to them or not willing to educate them baffles me, because they're uneducated. WSYX's Tom Bosco asked Senator McCauley if the nearly 60% vote to legalize marijuana showed that voters knew what they were voting for. I didn't say that, Tom. I just clarified right there what I meant by that, McCauley replied. I said everybody had probably a different reason, a different provision of the language that was their primary consideration, or their primary consideration for voting yes. The most important thing to put out here is the consumer experience is uninhibited. Oh, give me 1 second. My bad, I had to pop off. My nephew just woke up from his nap. All right, I'm gonna finish this article and I'm gonna log off. Bill DeMore, a Democratic senator from District 25, criticized the bill, saying basically they ignored the will of the voters. Don't tell me that people didn't know what they were voting for. Voters are smarter than my colleagues want to give them credit for sometimes, DeMore added. The bill now moves to the House, which previously blocked a similar proposal. The current House Speaker, Matt Huffman, was the Senate president when the bill was passed in the Senate last year. So again, politicians are going against the will of the voters, essentially, right? And that's all it is. But I appreciate you for tuning in, Kevin. Thanks for showing love. Yeah, it's locked. Okay, I'm coming. Again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, peace. Kobe, give me a second.